Okay, so over here, area of the base is just the 20 inches times 20 inches. So 400 inches squared. So the volume, the area of the base, 400 inches squared, times the height of 24 inches, divided by 3, which makes this 3,200 cubic inches of volume. Surface area, we already have the area of the base. Perimeter of the base is 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 is just 80 inches. So the lateral area, we still need to know the slant. So this is going to be 10 across here. This is 24. We need to know the slant out here. So the square root of 10 squared plus 24 squared, which does give us 26. So we got a slant of 26. So the lateral area is the perimeter of the base times the slant divided by 2, because those form triangles now. 1,040 inches squared, sound right? It's the lateral area plus the area of the base. This is only one base, so just add it once. 1,440 inches squared. Total surface area. What do you think? Doable? Itching to take a quiz on it? Cool. Okay, the good news is you're going to get to take that quiz home and finish it up there. Bad news is I'm going to cut you off now and we're going to talk about that packet that I gave you yesterday. And we're going to look actually at section 29 in that packet. Or unit 29, I should say. It starts on page 146. Which in the packet actually comes after page 114 because I skipped a few. Talking about gauge blocks. And what we're going to be looking at is gauge block buildups. If you look at page 146 of the packet, you'll see these are the standard gauge blocks and their thicknesses in a typical set of gauge blocks. And you'll notice they start out with the 10,000th series, but a 10,000th is way too thin to put by itself, so it's a 1/10 of an inch plus that 1,000. So it's 0.1001 to get a 10,000th, and 0.1002 to get 2 10,000ths, and so on, per tenth of an inch. So if we're trying to build up a dimension, we can't build up anything smaller than a 1/10 of an inch. In fact, we can't build up anything smaller than 0.1001. That's the smallest gauge block that we have in our set. So if I want to build 2.376 inches, well, 3762 will go inches with our gauge blocks. We start at the smallest place value, which is the 10,000ths. We need to get a 2. Well, there's only one block in our series that has a 2 in it. It's the 0.100, or that ends with 2 10,000ths. That's the 0.1002. So we are going to subtract 0.1002, which leaves us with 2.276 left to build. So that block is part of our build. Now we need the 6,000ths. There's actually probably a couple of them that have 6,000ths in them. We could pick whichever one we want, but it is easiest if we can get this here to a 1 or something handy. If you look down in the 50,000th series, the 19 block series down there, you can see there's the 1/10, 2/10, and so on. So what I really want is I want to get this digit to either a 0 or a 5 if I can. So I need a 6 here. To take that to a 5, I would need a 2 there, right? So in that 49 block series, I need something that ends in a 2 and a 6. So I have a 0.126, which is what I'll use for the next blocks. Do you see what I mean? So that's going to give me 2.15, and that's all. 0 if I want to put it in there after I use that block. So I have those two blocks already. Now for the 2.15, going down in the 19 block series, there's a 150 thousandths block, which leaves me with just 2 inches. So I'm going to use the 2-inch block. So those are the 4 blocks it would take to build that up. Does that make any sense? Let's do another build-up. Let's do 3.9478 inches. So where do we start? The 8. We have a 0.1008 block that we're going to use, which is going to leave us with 0.7483.847. Now I need to get rid of the 7, so I need something that has a 7, but I need to take this to either a 5 or a 0. Well, it looks like I'm going to take it down to a 0, right? So I need something that ends in 47. I have a 0.147. That one right there is probably the toughest block because that's the one that's the most decision. This first one, there is no decision. There's only one that has 8 10,000ths. The second one is the one where you have the big decision. You have to get this to a 0 or a 5. So does everybody see where that 147 thousandths comes from? So that takes us to 3.700. So now we need the 700 thousandths, which we have, which takes us to 3 inches, which we have a 3-inch block. So there's our 4-block buildup. I'm going to have you try one in your notes quick. See how you do. Actually, let me do this. Try to do the buildup on that one quick. What block do we start with? 0.1003, which leaves us with 0.964. Then which one are we going to use? 0.114. Leaving us with 0.850, and then just the 0.850. If we flip the page, top of the next page, we have the metric gauge block sets. These are in millimeters, and we actually go up to 90 millimeters. Basically, you can build 99.999 millimeters is what they are meant for. But of course, you can stack them up and go quite a bit higher than that. But let's say you want to build 87.348 millimeters. Just like with the standards, we start with the 8. What do we have that ends with an 8? Well, we have a 1.008, which will leave us with 86.34. Now we have to get rid of that 4, and we only have one option, 1.04. That does make it a little bit simpler, doesn't it? This was 85.3. Now we have to get rid of the 0.3, and again, we only have one option, 1.3. Is this with 84? And then we just have the 4 and the 80. I'm going to just assume you guys can build up 84 by combining an 80 and a 4, right? That's pretty much it. Metrics are a little bit easier. Like I said, in the standards, the only really difficult part is this decision right here. You need the 4, but you also need to make sure this one goes to a 5 or a 0. So in this packet, I'm going to have you guys do starting on page 148, 1 through 49. I'll just let you do the odds for now if you want to. Work on those for a couple minutes and we'll take our break. And there may be more than one way to build some of these, just so you know.